Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Schreiber from Zeifmans, and today I'm going to talk for a few minutes about losses. In the US tax world, there are lots of different types of losses. Casualty losses, abandonment losses, Section 1231 losses, capital losses, net operating losses or NOLs, and passive activity losses or PALs. I'm going to focus on the last two, net operating losses and passive activity losses. And at the end of my presentation, you will agree with me that a passive activity loss, or PAL, can be your pal. A net operating loss, or NOL, is a loss that's created when ordinary and necessary business tax deductions exceed taxable income. A passive activity loss is a loss that's created when passive activity losses and deductions exceed passive income. Well, in order to understand the difference, you need to know what's active income and what is passive income. In general, active income is income that's generated from active business operations. Not really a great definition, but that's the best we've got right now. And passive income is income that's generated from passive activities. A passive activity is an activity in which you do not actively participate in the management of the activity. Some activities, like rental activities, are de facto considered passive activities. There are ways that we can plan, however, to make a passive rental activity be considered an active rental activity. So the question then is, which is better? A net operating loss that's generated from active rental loss, or a passive activity loss that's generated from passive activity rental activity? In the past, we would generally suggest that you try to make your losses active so that you could access net operating losses. Why? Historically, net operating losses could be carried back 2 years and carried forward 20 and used against any type of income, and there was no limitation to the amount of taxable income that you could deduct with your net operating loss. A passive activity loss, however, has always been restricted to the amount of passive activity income. So if you didn't have enough income, your passive activity loss would not be fully deductible, and you'd have to carry it forward. However, the TCJA Act and the CARES Act significantly altered the landscape for net operating losses. The IRS restricted the ability to deduct net operating losses. They said that you could no longer carry them back. You could carry them forward. Now the carry forward point was indefinite. But here's the kicker. You could only offset 80% of taxable income. And then the CARES Act came in 2020, in the middle of the corona pandemic, and the IRS gave taxpayers a little bit of a benefit. They said, okay, if your loss was incurred in 2018, 2019, or 2020, you can carry it back 5 years, and you can carry it forward indefinitely, but you don't have to restrict the amount of taxable income that you're deducting. So you could obliterate all your taxable income. That was a short-lived little give from the IRS, and it only lasted for 2018, 2019, and 2020. Losses that were incurred after 2020 are subject to the new rules. You can't carry them back, you can only carry them forward, and you can only offset 80% of taxable income. Passive activity losses did not change with either of these tax acts. So at the end of the day, as I've illustrated, your passive activity loss is your pal. So when you're ready to buy a rental property in the US and you need some help structuring the deal, call us at Zeifmans and we'll help you figure it out.